In the world of MMOs, it's often said that the game doesn't start until you hit max level. It's a fairly common belief that endgame is the best part of this genre. The whole process of gearing up, going through dungeons, gathering groups to do raids, player versus player, professions, pretty much all of the meat of the game is at the end. And the whole leveling process is simply an obstacle that gets in the way of you enjoying the best part. But what if you just enjoyed the leveling? What if it wasn't the destination, but the journey that you had fun with? Not to get philosophical here, I'm just talking about video games, but just imagine. Well, enjoying the journey is exactly what I've been doing for the better part of these past few weeks in the world of Warcraft. Thanks to the Squish and recent changes, I've been spending most of my spare time making new characters, questing, adventuring, and leveling to the current maximum of 50. Right now, I have actually a total of 4 level 50 characters and planning to get at least another 2 there as well. Whereas typically, with every WoW expansion in recent years, I've hit max level with at most 2 characters, whatever my main is for that expansion, and maybe an alt. But right now, I'm enjoying leveling so much, I just want to keep making more. So what exactly is different? What about these recent changes has me enjoying leveling in WoW so much? Well, I think the first and most obvious is the level squish that just took place. Currently, the maximum level in WoW is 50, down from a max level of 120 that we had in Battle for Azeroth. Now, 120 levels is a lot, and there simply weren't enough new additions and changes as you went through the level process to make most of those leveling experiences interesting. What I mean by that, you would spend a significant number of your new levels getting nothing new beyond a slight stat increase. Now, with the max level of 50, you're pretty much always going to be getting some sort of an upgrade, increasing your power or capabilities of your character. Because we've gone from 120 total levels down to 50, every new level up that you get just feels more important. It might sound like a small thing because really, who cares if you get a new ability every 1 level or every 5 levels, but knowing that your next level is going to have some sort of an interesting improvement or unlocking a brand new ability, I have felt pushes me towards going after those new levels. Now, to go along with the level squish that's taken place, we also saw a pretty massive decrease to the amount of time it takes to hit max level. Right now, if you're playing at a normal pace, going through different zones and questing, maybe doing a dungeon here and there, it looks like it's taking roughly 15 hours to hit the max level of 50. At least that has been the case for my 4 characters so far. And this average time of roughly 15 hours is significantly faster than the amount of time it took to hit max level in any prior expansion that I can remember. Obviously, many of you will be familiar with the recent release of Classic WoW, of the just sheer amount of time that it took to hit the max level then. If I recall correctly, that's anywhere between 5 and 6 days play time. It is a huge investment to hit max level in vanilla WoW. Now, as the years went on with subsequent expansions, they were generally trending towards lower times to hit max level. Obviously, once Shadowlands comes out, we're going to get a bump to the max level from 50 to 60. And it looks like with current testing, the average level time for those last 10 levels is going to be somewhere between 10 and 15 hours, which will put the total time to max level once Shadowlands releases at the 25 to 30 hour mark for your average player. Combined with that level squish bringing more rewarding level ups and improvements, it just means that this whole process of wanting to acquire these new abilities and power up your character and unlock these new things is happening at a much more frequent pace than it ever has before. And that, again, I think is a big part of the motivating factor that I've had to continuously play these characters and level them up, and just that the whole enjoyment of going through that process. Now, I realize though that there's a conundrum here with this massive time reduction to hit max level and the fact that I'm saying I'm enjoying the journey more so than the destination. I think one would safely assume if it's truly the journey journey and the process of leveling that I'm enjoying, wouldn't I want more time going through that than less time? But I think they've struck this balance here where in reducing the total amount of time that it takes to hit max level and reducing the number of levels, the whole process has just been much more enjoyable than it's been for me in a long time. I am just genuinely really enjoying leveling up. I don't know if it took 30 or 40 or 50 hours to hit max level in the current system, if I would be having as much fun as I am right now. And I think what's really interesting about this is in stark contrast to how I used to feel. For a very long time, I have absolutely flown the flag of leveling and gearing in MMOs needs to be as difficult and take as long and just be as grueling as humanly possible, because that was like part of the investment and the immersion that you would have in this world and in your character. And I still think that in general, there's a time and a place for that kind of experience. But I think for WoW in particular, with the game being as old as it is and having gone through so many expansions and so many changes over the years, what they're doing right now just feels right for me personally. And it's the reason why I've just been so enthralled with this leveling process over these past few weeks. The biggest thing here isn't the level squish or the reduction in leveling time, it's the implementation of chromie time. This is the new mechanic that lets you level exactly where you want. You walk up to chromie, you pick an expansion, and it scales all of that expansion's content to your level. So in the Alliance Warrior that I recently leveled, this is what the process looked like for me. We started out in Exile's Reach, which takes me through that 1 to 10 experience. Then after arriving in Stormwind, I decided to make my way down to Elwynn Forest, where I leveled to about 17. Then, instead of taking the traditional path, which would bring you to either Westfall or Redridge, I made my way straight to Duskwood, which is one of my all-time favorite zones in the entire game. It all stems back to my time with the original launch of the game, how imposing the whole idea of coming across Stitches was on the main path, and how that was also the location that I first started running into the enemy faction as they creeped their way up from Stranglethorn Vale. Duskwood has just a lot of fond memories in my history with this game, and so I loved the idea of heading straight there after Elwynn Forest. Now, after I was done with Duskwood, I actually changed my mind, and instead of progressing, say, down to Stranglethorn, I decided to make my way back to Redridge, where I stayed until I hit level 40. Then, for a change of pace, I took the portal to Darnassus, where I leveled from 40 to 45 in Darkshore, and I finished off the whole leveling experience in Winterspring. That whole thing took just a little over 15 hours, and voila, my warrior was now max level. I didn't have to go through BC or Wrath of the Lich King or Legion or Pandaria or even the most recent expansion, Battle for Azeroth. I have just really loved the freedom of getting to level wherever I feel at any point in the leveling process. It's just been so satisfying. And I've been pretty straightforward in my choices, sticking primarily to the Cataclysm version of many of the original WoW zones. Lots of players are using chromie time to level exclusively in some of their favorite expansions, whether it's Burning Crusade, Wrath, Legion, Mist, whatever. They're going entirely from levels 1 to 50 just in their expansion of choice. Now, my expansion of choice has been maybe one of the least interesting one to some people, but I absolutely love it. I just adore the vanilla zones, even if it is the Cataclysm version of it, which is why I've kept leveling in those areas and I don't plan to stop. My DK is almost certainly gonna hit level 50, and then there's a good chance after that I will level up my Druid as well, and this will give me one of each tank to choose from for the upcoming Shadowlands expansion. All of this enjoyment that I've been getting from the game over these past few weeks, without the hint of anything end game related. I'm not going through any Mythic Plus dungeons or doing the Nilotha raid. I'm just leveling for the sake of leveling, and I'm having a blast doing it. But I'm not trying to paint the picture here that all of a sudden the end game doesn't matter, because a bulk of my playtime once Shadowlands releases will absolutely be spent in the end game. I'll level up whoever my first main character is going to be, and then I'll go through the whole process of gathering my anima powers, getting my new cool legendary gear, doing heroics, mythic plus dungeons, and then going through the process of raiding. And yeah, a bulk of my total playtime is almost certainly going to be spent there. But I have to say, these new leveling improvements I think have been one of the best changes to WoW in a very long time. I'm having fun playing for the sake of it, not because I'm chasing the current expansion's take on borrowed power. I'm not farming for incremental gear upgrades or the newest resource or currency. I'm just enjoying playing, and that is what's driving my decision to log in every day. And I do think it comes back to it's all in my hands. The new leveling and scaling lets me do what I want when I want. If I want to level in Elwynn Forest, it doesn't have to be only because I make a brand new character. I can decide to do that at level 45 and still make meaningful progress on that character along the way. Some of you may naysay this and say, Force, the only reason you're enjoying leveling is because there's nothing else to do. It's true. You know, right now, there's not much at the WoW endgame to focus on. I'm not grinding for corrupted gear anymore, right? We're just sitting here waiting for Shadowlands. I don't think that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, because other games exist, you know? I'm not a mono gamer player anymore. I don't just play WoW. Currently, I'm really excited to check out the upcoming Destiny 2 expansion. I would love to jump back in and refamiliarize myself with playing the game and my characters. I also still have to finish that first act of Baldur's Gate 3. That's something I want to do. And I recently decided to revisit Guild Wars 2, and I would love to also spend some time in that. But I'm not doing any of those things. I'm just playing WoW because I'm enjoying it that much. If this were the only game that I played, I would agree the only reason I would be leveling new characters is because there's no point really in doing WoW endgame until Shadowlands comes out. But that's not the answer, because I do and have an active interest in other games. It's just leveling in WoW is pulling me away from every other game that I want to play at the moment because I like it that much. With making this video, I also realized that Shadowlands is coming up and is going to change a large part of this equation. All of the changes coming when Shadowlands releases is going to make the current getting to max level how you want not the same, because the max level from 50 to 60 can only take place in Shadowlands as far as I'm aware. I can't go from 50 to 60 in Elwynn Forest or Duskwood, damn it. So that is going to change one element of that whole equation that I kind of just laid out here. But I think a lot of it still stands. The fact that I can still do 1 to 50 wherever the hell I please is going to be really rewarding. As I've said in prior videos talking about how WoW is at the moment and with the content that we're getting in Shadowlands, we have no clue how good or not Shadowlands is going to be as an expansion. I don't really think that matters to me right now. WoW right now, with the current changes and the level squish and the chromie time leveling, everything about it has made me want to log in and play every single day. I'm having a great time, and bottom line is that's all that really matters, really. We'll see what happens when Shadowlands comes out. We'll see if that ends up being a good expansion or not in the long term. Kudos to Blizzard. All of these level changes are really good. I think they did a great job with it, and I'm having fun. So I'm going to stop recording this video and go level my characters some more. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you later.